Hi, everyone. Good morning, and thanks for joining us at the USA Water Polo General Assembly. Greg Meskel here with you, and we appreciate you spending time on a Saturday morning to be here with us. We've got a busy morning ahead. And before we get started, just wanted to run through the schedule of events so you're all set for what's about to come. First up, we'll have our USA Water Polo State of the Organization address. And to take that on will be our USA Water Polo Board Chair, Bill Smith, followed by USA Water Polo CEO, Chris Ramsey. From there, we will get an athlete safety update from our own Sally Wiggins, and then we will transition into our question and answer session. Now, while this video is taking place on YouTube, our question and answer session for all registered attendees will take place on Zoom. You should have already received a Zoom link, and once we're done here with our comments and thoughts from Chris and Bill and Sally, we'll then transition over to that Q&A Zoom webinar. So you can start to look for that link in your email now, but it was sent out many days ago. And to take part in the Q&A, also this past Thursday, you received a Google form link where you can submit your questions, and those will be addressed in the order they were received during the live Q&A session. Once we've exhausted all the questions from those that have been registered to take part in the assembly, we will then transition to a separate second Zoom meeting that will be the governance portion of the USA Water Polo Assembly with voting and ratification of board members. In that session, only our USA Water Polo official delegates will take part, along with members of the USA Water Polo Board of Directors. For those folks who've already been pre-registered for that Zoom meeting and will have received a note to your email inbox on how to access that second Zoom meeting. So again, as we progress over the next few moments, if you have questions and you haven't submitted them yet for the General Assembly Q&A, make sure you access that Google form link. Get your questions in now. We'll share some reminders as we go here over the coming moments. And then don't forget to move over to that Zoom link for the webinar for the USA Water Polo Q&A, and we can get started with our question and answer session. But with that, we'll jump right into things, and I'll pass the baton off to the chair of the USA Water Polo Board of Directors, Bill Smith.
Good morning, everyone. It's my honor and privilege to speak to you today to discuss the state of our beloved sport. As the chairman of USA Water Polo, I am thrilled to report that our organization is thriving and that we are making great strides towards achieving our goals. It's clear that our dedication to our members, the success of our national teams, and our financial achievements are worth celebrating. With every accomplishment, we find new reasons to be proud of our hard work. First and foremost, our commitment to our members is unwavering. From events like JOs, Masters Nationals, Hall of Fame, athlete safety, and other programs, we put our members first to ensure access to superior high-performance programming. As a coach and former collegiate and masters water polo athlete, I know firsthand that water polo is more than just a game. It's a tight-knit community of passionate individuals who celebrate the beauty and power of water. Every day we come together to fight for the same goal, to push our limits, inspire each other, and create memories that last a lifetime. Whether we're cheering each other on from the sidelines or diving into the pool for another intense match, we know that we're part of something truly special. I'm delighted to report that the national team's performance is excellent. Our #1 ranked women's team is off to another great year. We look forward to supporting them at the 2023 World Cup, which this year is held in Long Beach, California in June. The athletes from the men's team are training abroad, playing for top professional water polo clubs in Europe. Our men's team is improving and increasingly in the conversation for the Paris Olympics. We will also be cheering them on at the World Cup in Los Angeles this June. Overall, we have some of the most talented athletes in the world, and we are proud to support them on their journey to excellence. I am also pleased to report that we have managed our finances successfully through the pandemic, making sound fiscal management a hallmark of our organization. We know that our members work hard to support us, and we take our responsibility to them very seriously. We will continue to ensure that we are financially stable and able to provide the best possible support to our members. Our governance is another area where we are making great strides. Our board members represent the entire United States of America, hailing from Texas, Florida, Illinois, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, and of course, Northern and Southern California. We believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we strive to ensure that all members of our organization feel seen, heard, and valued. We are proud to welcome new board members, Lou Gal from Northern California, and two new athlete directors, Max Irvine and Lolo Silver. I should mention that we are always open to new board member nominations. I would also like to recognize Susan Bao, who recently was elected vice chair of USA Water Polo. Lastly, I would like to give a special shout out to board member Houston Hall, who will be cycling off the board at the end of May. Houston was a key force in getting water polo recognized as a state-sanctioned high school sport in Texas. As a result, we are seeing a flood of new members and clubs starting up in Texas. We intend to replicate this exact same model in other states to continue to grow the sport of water polo across the United States. Investing in growth is a top priority for us. Water polo has the power to change lives. It's an opportunity to unlock your physical potential, strengthen your mental fortitude, boost your self-esteem, and cultivate vital teamwork skills. We want to ensure that everyone who wants to play water polo has the opportunity to do so, and that they have access to the best possible training and support. In conclusion, state of the sport of water polo here in the United States is strong. Our commitment to our members, our national teams, financial performance, governance, and investment in growth are all areas where we are excelling. Together, we will strive to keep water polo shining brightly as a top-tier sport in the United States. By staying dedicated to this cause, we can confidently say that an amazing future awaits us as an organization and for the entire sport. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to do the USA Water Polo Management Report. And I want to thank Bill Smith, first of all, for his comments and his leadership as chairman of the board. And I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your Saturday morning or afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in, for joining us today in the service of good governance. So thank you. I want to talk about a few different things today in the course of our management report. I want to discuss our national teams, our pipeline teams and masters competitions, Olympic development, membership and club growth, recap of the 2022 events, athlete safety and compliance, the racial equity and reform task force work, the National Training Center effort, national team expenses compared to USOPC support, and 5 years of key performance indicators for USA Water Polo to give you a sense of how we've done over a bit of time, as well as some goals for the future and some final thoughts. Let's start with the senior national team performance. In 2021, our women's team won the gold medal at the Tokyo Olympic Games. It was their third consecutive gold medal in the Olympic Games. They were also gold medalists in the 2022 World Championship in Budapest. They won a bronze medal at the World League Super Final in Tenerife in the end of 2022, and we have qualified for the new World Aquatics World Cup Super Final, which we will be hosting in Long Beach, June 23rd through 25th. The women will also compete in the Pan American Games in Valparaiso, Chile, October 22 through 28. The top team there that is not already qualified for the Olympic Games will qualify for Paris. On the men's team front, the men finished 6th at the Tokyo Olympic Games in 21. They finished 6th at the World Aquatics Championships in Budapest in 22. They were silver medalists at the World League Super Final in Strasbourg in 22. and they also have qualified for the new Aquatics World Cup Super Final, which we will host at the USC Swim Center June 30th through July 2nd in Southern California. The men will also compete at the Pan American Games in Valparaiso, Chile, October 22 through 28, and the same qualification for the men exists as for the women. I also would note that there are 2 World Championships upcoming in 24. Well, one is the Doha, Qatar World Championship, February 2 through 18. And then, frankly, the Paris Olympic Games are also a kind of a World Championship, so I lumped that in. The Paris Games run July 26 through August 11. In addition to that, we have pipeline programs, as you all know, and the women's team was the gold medalist at the Pan Am Under-17 Aquatic Championships in Bauru, Brazil, which just took place a couple of weeks ago. They also took a bronze medal at the Intercontinental Cup and World League Super Final in Tenerife. And the men were gold medalists at the Pan Am U-17 Aquatic Championships in Bauru, as the women were, and won silver medals at the Intercontinental Cup and the World League Super Final as well in Strasbourg. And on the Masters front, the Masters Nationals will be June 9 through 11 in Tri-Valley, California. And the Hall of Fame luncheon will be held in conjunction with the Masters tournament on June 9th, and will include the induction of Aaron Chaney, Nicole Payne, Ron Richardson, Coralie Simmons, and our own board member, Peter Varela. World Aquatic Masters Championships will be held August 2 through 11 across the island of Kyushu, Japan, in the cities of Fukuoka, Kumamoto, and Kagoshima. The Olympic Development Program has continued to grow. Camp numbers increased roughly 1,000 athletes from the 21-22 season to the 22-23 season, with more than 6,000 athletes participating in at least an ODP camp in 22-23. Due to member demand, we increased the number of teams in each age group from 16 to 18 for the 23 national championships for both genders. ODP regionals were held in January of 2023 in Dallas, with more than 1,100 athletes participating. Regionals have become an increasingly important part as water polo grows nationally, providing additional opportunities for athletes outside California to participate in a large-scale ODP tournament. Each zone and age group is allocated up to 2 teams to the tournament, from which selections are made for the national championship rosters. The Futures program continues to be an important part of ODP programming. Athletes are selected from NTSC camps to travel in August after JOs and train and compete in an international environment. Zone coaches are also selected to participate in the international trips as part of their professional development. Holiday camp in December continues to be in high demand, with all spots filled for 2022. Working with USOPC, we were able to increase a little bit the available athlete slots for each gender from 120 to 136 for each camp. Member growth has now come back. It's bounced back after the pandemic. 2019 was our all-time high in membership. We hit 50,000 members, although about 2,500 of those members were free memberships. In fact, 2022 was probably the largest paid membership USA Water Polo's ever had, approaching 50,000, and we are on track to get at least as many and probably more members and crack the 50,000 mark in paid memberships for 2023. On the club growth side, our membership is about 3/4 athletes. It includes about 1/8 coaches, a little less than that referees, and then Masters affiliates make up about 1/8, and other categories comprise the rest, such as club administrators. USA Water Polo's membership and club growth shows that we now have 10 clubs that are the largest in the country, starting with La Miranda Water Polo, the current leader at 527. 680 Water Polo is next, Stanford Water Polo, SoCal Water Polo, South Coast Water Polo, San Diego Shores Water Polo, San Jose Express Water Polo, American River Water Polo, Rose Bowl, and Del Mar. And I just want to do a special shout out to all 10 of these clubs. Obviously, their programs are speaking to water polo players who want to be a part of them, and their growth is a great thing for our game. So salute to the top 10 members clubs at USA Water Polo so far in 2023. In 2022 versus 23, you might be interested to know that California had 56% of the clubs and 44% of the clubs were comprised from non-California. On the member side, 61% were California and 39% non-California. I think, frankly, that's the largest number of out-of-California members and clubs we've ever had, and it's a very healthy sign that our sport is truly becoming national. Hey, we had a number of tremendous events in 2022. And coming out of the pandemic, I want to do a special shout out to our events group, Katie Weber, Ryan Canane. They just worked. So we did Dare to Dream. And we did Dare to Dream in 3 different places: Houston, Texas, Irvine, and Orinda. We had a Welcome to Texas showdown, a Clearwater Beach Challenge, men's and women's senior nationals in Irvine, Masters Nationals also in Irvine, Rocktober 12 Under Classic in Mesa, Arizona. Our Champions Cup, November 4 through 6, was in Westmont, Illinois at the FNC Aquatic Center. Of course, the key event for us every year is National Junior Olympics. And as you know, we've added a 3rd session in Texas. Sessions 1 and 2 were in San Jose, California. Just in those 2 sessions, it featured 767 teams, 10,000 athletes, 3,100 coaches, 130 referees, and more than 3,000 games. The 3rd session was in Dallas, Texas. Another 166 teams participated, including almost 2,000 athletes, 328 coaches, 50 plus referees, playing a total of 639 games. So tremendous performance by everyone at USA Water Polo. I want to also tip hat to all of the USA Water Polo staff, because everybody kicks in when it comes to Junior Olympics. It's a massive event. It is by a large margin the largest water polo tournament in the world, and I think it's something we can all be really proud of. Now I want to talk a little bit about athlete safety. Sally Wiggins, our Chief HR and Athlete Safety Officer, will be up in a little bit to talk in more detail about athlete safety, but I just wanted to touch a few high points. One of those is to just note that the laws and compliance have become more complicated for youth sports than ever before. And with the growth that we're experiencing, we frankly work pretty hard not only to adhere to federal and local laws, but also state laws, which vary often from state to state. And I think we've been doing a pretty solid job of that, but that's always a challenge for us. We also have been providing ongoing enforcement of USA Water Polo's codes of conduct and bylaws. We had, in 2022, received USOPC recertification as an official Olympic national governing body, and also successfully completed both a USOPC audit and a Safe Sport Administrative audit with the highest rankings. We also installed the BOCRM SAM Risk Safety BASS plan in 2022. I know that this was a big lift for all of us to do, but there is no better effort that we can make than to try to keep athletes as safe as we possibly can. So I want to take a special moment to salute all of you clubs out there that went through our first round of implementing the BASS system. You installed athlete safety officers. You did risk analysis of your own clubs and the facilities you use in your travel programs. You began a regular system of record keeping, and all of those things are going to keep our members safe. We insist on full compliance with the BASS program. There may be a little bit of a window sometimes if something has to be corrected, but we do provide oversight of this, and I think it's a very, very important program. I know I've spoken to many of you who, when it was implemented, had their doubts, and now that it has been implemented, I've heard a lot of positive comments about people feeling safer, feeling more in control of how they're managing safety at their clubs. And frankly, I think we all realize that in today's times, this is a very, very important step for us at USA Water Polo, and one in which I think, frankly, we're leading the country. So thank you for all of you for doing that. I know it takes a mix of professionals and volunteers to pull it off. It was a big lift, but we successfully completed it. And I have personally received commendation from the U.S. Center for Safe Sport for the effort that we put behind this and the result that we've done. And I pass that on to all of you because you are the ones who are doing the hard work. Finally, you know, we have a grievance procedure. We work with the U.S. Center for Safe Sport on that. Things that involve, for example, abuse of any kind are referred to the center, and they make a decision about whether they want to accept jurisdiction or pass it back to us. But I do think the grievance process is very important because there are many things that pop up that it's better to be able to handle them within the family, but knowing that you have an independent hearing panel to understand the issues at hand and to render verdicts. I think it's been a very important part of USA Water Polo. I also want to thank everyone who served on panels as independent hearing panelists. And I want to thank Richard Esterkin, our counsel, who has administered most of those panels, along with Frank Casada, the head of our board ethics and judicial committee, who also has adjudicated some of those panels and works with the committee to make sure that our standards are up to snuff. In response to the George Floyd murder and other really unsettling and harrowing issues in our country regarding racial equity, I appointed a racial equity and reform task force. That task force was led by Brenda Villa and John Abdu and included Tamua and I, Chelsea Johnson, Felix Mercado, Ted Menace, Yvonne Munoz, Scott Newberger, Mariko Rooks, Angela Uno, Clark Weatherspoon, Counsel George Abel, and Staff Liaison Mai Lam. They gave generously of their time, and everybody put their shoulder into this hard, and I think the work that they did was remarkable, and we are in their debt. They've wrapped up their work, and they wrapped it up with 10 recommendations. You can see them on your screen. Those recommendations are going to make USA Water Polo more diverse and more equitable. The response to the work that they've done has generated much more revenue that we can use to help expand diversity and equity issues. It's articulated clearly a zero tolerance policy regarding racial equity. It has found a number of innovative ways so that clubs and others can grow through using equity and diversity as a way to recruit new members, and also to make sure that anyone who wants to play water polo is going to have a chance to play water polo and play it in a fair environment. So I really want to thank the task force members. I also want to point out that this is not the end, even though task forces, as you know, according to our bylaws, have a beginning, middle, and an end, and this task force completed its work. We have a board diversity and equity committee that will continue. We will have a staff member who will be assigned with some of these tasks. And in addition to that, we have let everybody at USA Water Polo know that racial equity, diversity, and inclusion is everyone's job here. And we are going to continue on the work that the task force has set forward for us. And you can read a review of where we stand on all those things on our website. On the National Training Center front, it's been an amazing year because we have raised significant funds so that we did not spend member dues on trying to pull together a training center. We've reached a memorandum of understanding with the city of Irvine. That has been blessed by the city council and the Great Park Board in Irvine. And we will be part of a new 3-pool complex at the Great Park in Irvine that will include exclusive use spaces for our athletes and our coaching staffs, and a beautiful new stadium pool in which to watch water polo. This has been a big lift. It's been going on for a long time. If you're like me, you're ready for it to be built already, and I hope that we're going to be able to get shovels in the ground next year. Regarding the national team expenses, I wanted to give you a little insight into finances at USA Water Polo to make sure you know what's going on there. And this slide gives you a pretty good idea of how our expenditures for national teams go versus the support we get from the USOPC. And I think there's a couple of takeaways here. Obviously, the bar charts in blue reflect the fact that we've had a pandemic going on. And so the 2020 year and the 2021 year showed a drop off, and now we're kind of getting revved up again. But you can see that on the 2 senior national teams, we're spending in the ballpark of $2.7 to $3 million a year. Just to be clear, the USOPC only covers about 1/3 of that cost. And one of the challenges we're facing is that the USOPC is providing less funding today than it did 5 years ago. And that is really a challenge for us and for all national governing bodies out there. Fortunately, through fundraising, through events, through other activities, we have been able to make the USOPC contribution a smaller part of our total revenue pie so that we are less subject to the whims of the allocations by the U.S. Olympic High Development Group. And to be fair, I think they've been great. I know they work hard to try to leverage as many resources in our direction as possible. But I think it's important for all of you to know we are not state funded in America. Virtually every other competitor in the world that we play against is. And we have to make up a pretty substantial deficit in terms of what we get from the Olympic Committee versus what we actually spend on the teams. And it's been one of my bedrock convictions that that should not come out of membership programming. That's why we've tried to fill that gap with fundraising. We've tried to fill that gap with sponsorship and other sources of revenue so that we can use all of your member dues and member dollars for member programs. Now let's take a look at 5 years of key performance indicators. If you look at 2018, you can see that we had about $11.5 million in annual revenue, about $1 million in net assets with our 48,000 members. We had a nice leap on revenue. We got to almost $15 million in 2019. Net assets went up, and this reflects mostly our efforts to raise capital funds for the National Training Center, up to $3.2 million, and membership crested above 50. 2020, the first year of the pandemic, you can see we took an almost $5 million hit in revenue. But we still were able to grow net assets that year up to now more than $5 million. 2021, we bounced back with almost $14 million in revenue, and our net assets went up to $6.5 million. And in 2022, our revenue ended up at more than $16 million, net assets $6.5 million, and membership, as we've discussed, in terms of paid membership, actually above our previous high water mark of 2019. So, what are our goals? Well, we'd like to win medals at the Paris Olympic Games, as well as Fukuoka and Doha World Championships for our men's and women's team. We'd also like to provide our clubs with more tools to improve their risk management and athlete safety, to bolster member recruitment, to use social media presence to their advantage, and to professionally develop their coaches, officials, and staff. And some of those tools you've already begun to see roll out. I know you're all busy, so it may be hard, but I have to tell you there's some great new social media tools and recruitment tools that have already been rolled out, and more is on the way. Please take a minute to review those. I think you'll find that there are things that can be difference makers for your clubs. We also want to build on the Library of Professional Development work established in the past year to expand water polo knowledge and collaboration around the country. And of course, one of the big successes in the past year was finally dropping the first water polo ball on official UIL competition in Texas. We had close to 200 new schools that adopted water polo in the UIL. I think it's going to catapult us as one of the fastest growing sports in the country. And it took a long investment and a lot of hard work by people like board member Houston Hall and Joe Linehan on our staff and others. What we learned was that you have to stick to it, but you can break down the walls and get water polo in new places. And what we've learned in Texas, we intend to apply to other markets going forward around the country. We also learned, by the way, that trying to do everything in all markets at once did not work for us. So we had aggregated our efforts in Texas, and we're going to be looking to aggregating those efforts in one or two other key states in the future. So we really want to nationalize our sport. I know all of you want water polo to get bigger and stronger and better. And I think states like Texas can show us the way to do that. Hoping we'll break ground on the National Training Center. We want to continue to set the standard for best practices in athlete safety. And we want to further communicate our health and safety protocols and procedures on a regular basis. Finally, we want to continue to offer more opportunities for equity and diversity in our sport, often with funding attached. So, a few final thoughts. The strength of our federation is our clubs. The remarkable number of independent businesses that serve the water polo community throughout the nation. USA Water Polo has, in recent years, strived to give clubs more tools to promote programs, grow their membership, offer development to their staffs, and manage their risks by improving athlete safety and hosting local events. Our system is essentially market-driven and benefits from competition and best practices that make every club better. More and better operated clubs, along with a more robust calendar of events, have resulted in dramatic growth of our sport. And I think we can grow further. We've stabilized our sport by managing our finances and investing in growth and professional development. Those investments need to continue and in some cases expand. Our efforts to grow the college game are also paying dividends. But I have to say, collegiate sport remains a complicated and sometimes troubled space, and we cannot completely rely on it. There is new legislation being offered in California that might severely impact colleges' abilities to have water polo. And frankly, we now produce and televise the NC2A men's and women's NCAA championships on ESPN at our own expense because the NC2A hadn't done it for 10 years and won't do it. So we believe we should. We also founded a D3 championship that's incentivizing more D3 colleges to add water polo, and we have more collegiate water polo programs than ever. But each of these programs has special challenges and needs our partnership to thrive. We're going to continue our commitment to collegiate water polo, but with big money that's spent on college football and college basketball, the broadcasting aspects, and other issues that affect the college space, I think we can all stay tuned for more challenges ahead. And then we also need to work more closely together, particularly our coaches, referees, and administrators. Our community is growing. We're still small, but we grow because we're committed to excellence. And by working together, we can all improve. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee support for Olympic sports has, as I showed you on our slide, at least in our case, diminished with little growth of revenue, and I don't anticipate a lot of revenue for the next 4 years leading into the LA Olympics. Is a much larger responsibility on the Olympic Committee and on us, frankly, for audit and compliance of nearly all aspects of our business. In practical terms, although the USOPC's contribution has grown during my tenure, but where it once represented a third of our revenue, it now only represents, as I mentioned before, about 10%. That's a healthy trend for us because NGBs that are solely dependent on USOPC support in the current environment face longer-term risks without diversification. So we are trying to ameliorate those risks by diversifying, but I also think that the added pressure and responsibilities of the USOPC mean that we have to first and foremost rely on ourselves. Installing the Bookroom Risk Management System has been a big lift for everyone, but in today's environment, as I said, it's necessary. And again, I want to congratulate you all for adopting the system, achieving compliance, and keeping our athletes safer. This is an important step for athlete safety and for standing behind our pledge of zero tolerance towards sexual misconduct. We are also facing the challenge of inflation, which is real. I know it impacts all of you and your communities and when you travel, and it's a big deal for organizations like ours that have a lot of travel, lodging, and those kinds of costs and components built into your business models. I don't think it's going away. I think we're just going to have to all manage carefully in terms of our costs, in terms of planning further in advance. But I have been impressed by how creative and responsible our community has been to meet this challenge. Despite all of this, we do continue to grow. And with expanding markets like Texas, the Central Valley in California, Hawaii and the Northeast, our goal of nationalizing our sport is within our grasp. Again, I want to thank you, our delegates, for taking a Saturday morning to fulfill your responsibility for good governance and to inform yourselves on the state of our national governing body. Our sport is truly better for your commitment. I want to recognize the entire USA Water Polo staff. A few of them worked very hard to pull this event together, but everyone at USA Water Polo works hard. That's part of our DNA. And from the people who are running events, to handling marketing responsibilities, to handling our communication and social media, to managing our national teams, to managing all of our ODP programs, to making sure that we keep our accounting correct, that we handle athlete safety appropriately. There's a lot to do in a small business like USA Water Polo, and I just want to call out everyone on the USA Water Polo staff for their contributions. There are too many people to name them all by name at this point. I hope that we can get a slide up that at least shows you their names, but I just want to express my heartfelt appreciation for them because they are doing the work every day on your behalf, and you are really, really lucky to have them. We're in the business of expanding human potential, and our collective work to serve our athlete community with new opportunities is the key to our success. Thank you for all that you do for our athletes, our clubs, and our water polo community. It is, as I titled this presentation, a long and winding road. You make a difference every day through your efforts, and although we know not everything is perfect, as Vince Lombardi once said, if you chase perfection, you can catch excellence. Thank you again for all the good you do. And now I want to turn the presentation over to our Chief Athlete Safety and HR Officer, Sally Wiggins.
Welcome USA Water Polo community to the 2023 USA Water Polo Assembly. I'm Sally Wiggins, Chief Officer of Athlete Safety and Compliance, and I welcome you. I'm going to take a few minutes of your time today to highlight the strides that USA Water Polo has undertaken to increase athlete safety for our membership. As many of you are aware, in 2022, USA Water Polo implemented the mandatory SAM Risk Safety BAS Plan requirement for all of our USA Water Polo clubs. This was a difficult task, and it was a significant lift for our clubs and our staff to gain compliance with this new program. Happy to report, however, that to date, 95% of USA Water Polo clubs have completed an approved SAM-Risk Safety Bass Plan. On behalf of USA Water Polo, I want to thank everyone for your role in achieving the 95%. In 2023, the focus for USA Water Polo is focusing on USA Water Polo clubs to recertify their SAM-Risk Athlete Safety Bass Plan. Clubs who have completed their BAS plan are now being prompted by emails to conduct their maintenance safety meetings, as well as to update their BAS plan with any new details regarding their SAM-Risk accordingly on the BOCRM website. Clubs who have not completed the BAS plan requirements or who fail to update their BAS plan for 2023 will receive a USA Water Polo email notifying them that the club is not compliant with BAS and therefore not compliant with USA Water Polo's club membership requirements and at risk of suspension. Of course, USA Water Polo staff continues to be available to help those clubs that need assistance to get them compliant. If somebody, a club admin or a club is having difficulty meeting the requirements of BOCRM, they can reach out to USA Water Polo and we will try to get them back on track. You can do this by reaching out to me at my email, which is swiggins, SWIGGINS @usawaterpolo.org. To honor the hard work that our clubs have been doing, at the end of 2023, USA Water Polo will be offering a digital badge to USA Water Polo clubs that have consistently maintained their compliance with their SAM-Risk Athlete Safety Bass Plan. The digital badge will be something that they can place on their website, and this signifies to parents and the community the hard work that was put in to have them compliant with athlete safety requirements. More details regarding the digital badge will be coming towards the end of 2023. Next, I want to talk a little bit about USA Water Polo's continued work with the Center for Safe Sport. USA Water Polo continues to work with Safe Sport in the areas of athlete safety as mandated by Congress under the Ted Stevens Act. Safe Sport passes on updates and requirements regarding safe sport training and compliance rules of safety to USA Water Polo, who in turn takes this information and passes it on to our membership. Many of the updates that our members have experienced in 2022 and 2023 in our Sport 80 database platform have been requirements and requests by Safe Sport. For example, if an athlete is not eligible or suspended or not in compliance with their Safe Sport training or not in compliance with the background check for a coach, they will be in the red not eligible category. Implementing this onto the rosters has also proven to be very helpful to make sure that individuals who are not compliant with USA Water Polo's requirements and the Center for Safe Sports requirements are not allowed to participate in USA Water Polo events. I want to thank our staff, membership events, and referee staff for their heavy lift and overseeing that Sport 80 platform to make sure that our work with our club members is compliant with Safe Sport. Finally, I wanted to touch upon one area that isn't frequently discussed about Safe Sport. Safe Sport has the compliance tools that we all are beginning to become more and more familiar with, which is to make a complaint or an incident report through their website or their telephone number. They also have the power to audit NGBs like USA Water Polo. Each year, they rotate between a administrative audit or a event audit. 2022 was an administrative audit. In 2022, USA Water Polo underwent an administrative audit conducted by Safe Sport that took place over the course of a 6-week period of time. The categories that they look for compliance in are 1, education and training, 2, communication and reporting, 3, quality control systems, and 4, local affiliated organizations, which for us is our USA Water Polo clubs. Over the course of 6 weeks, with Zoom interviews, document requests, USA Water Polo produced significant data and answered numerous questions by Safe Board. At the end of the day, however, the result of the audit was USA Water Polo received the highest marks on all of the foregoing categories. These audit reports are publicly available on USA Water Polo's website and publicly available on the Center for Safe Sports website. And finally, as always, the number one tool for our members is to refer to the Minor Athlete Abuse Prevention Policy, which is the MAP requirements. We ask and remind all of our members to continue to implement the MAP requirements through their continued hard work that you do. All of us at USA Water Polo are looking forward to the continued success together and to continuing the 95%. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the assembly.